Man, we're getting old when you're sitting here talking about your sciatica pains and gout and whatever else you got.
Gout is only from beer, I've decided at this point. So much for craft beers. Oh, well.
No, so I have a feeling I've had like a stress fracture in my foot for like over a year.
From kicking ass and taking names too much?
You know it. But I was worried it was gout at first, but they say gout, like you feel it in your toes, right?
Oh, man. It's literally just like the skin is stretched tight as it can be, and there's an internal pressure, almost like someone took a bulb and blew it up. And if your toe bends either direction, it doesn't feel good.
Well, thank you, because now I don't have gout.
Oh, man. At least, what was it, the kind of beer? I think I told you.
Is it IPA or a stout, or?
No,
You've been drinking that High Life too much?
No, I think those beers are fine. It's,
I don't know. Let's just have you taste a bunch of beer and figure out which one gives you gout.
Those fruit beers.
What?
They're like fruity.
Like a sour IPA or like a Ghost?
I think it was a sour beer.
Okay.
I think it was sours, yeah. Somebody sent me one. It wrecked the foot.
Note to everyone.
It was whatever those things Yamada gave us. Weren't those sours?
Well, no, it was like a blackberry wine beer.
Okay. Is that similar to a sour?
No.
Oh, that's what it was.
Well, it was a fruity beer.
Yeah.
So fruity beers get you. Getting old sucks.
Tell you what, just thankful I got the hair on my head.
I'm thankful I got it on my chin. Hello, everyone. My name is John Edwards, and with me is Zeke Baker, and together we make the Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, thank you for making us a part of your day. Say hello to the folks, Zeke.
How y'all doing?
How y'all doing? It is a great day. Nashville Cocktail Festival is this week. We're going to be going and learning about some interesting things that we don't know anything about. In cocktails, I'm very excited for this week. I'm excited for the kickoff party on Tuesday, which this will be coming out Wednesday, so you'll hear about it on Monday of next week. But the kickoff party on Tuesday, there's the dinner at Husk on Thursday, there's all the weekend events that people should be going to.
Don't forget your tiki.
My tiki event on Saturday. I'm very excited for the tiki event.
Yeah, I heard through the grapevine you might have spent this past weekend shopping Tommy Bahama shirts.
They don't have Tommy Bahama shirts that fit me.
Well, you sew two together.
You really want to see me like human centipede myself.
Well, you can actually do this up, now that I think about it, and get two of like similar prints of the Bahama looking shirts, but completely different color schemes, so that when it's, sewed together in the back, because they're button downs, people are just going to be like, what in the, I think this is going somewhere, John. I think we can make this happen.
So it's like crisscross to the extreme?
Well, not really crisscross, because it wouldn't be front to back. It's just you would literally have two different shirts that had been cut somewhere towards the middle of the back, then sewn together, so that one side would be, the same print but different sets of colors compared to the other.
I don't know. My problem is I put a shirt on, and I always think I look good in the mirror, and then I see a picture of myself, and I'm like, I need to hit the treadmill.
Kind of like that day you were trying to look sexy in front of me and Bob Little.
I always look sexy in front of you and Bob Little. It's like my life's mission to look sexy in front of you and Bob Little.
So that's why when I walked in that day, Bob,
You've been dying to tell that it doesn't. It's not even funny.
Oh,
I got out of the shower.
Bob,
No, you didn't
Zeke.
say
I'll put some pants on. Hold on.
Here's the thing. So all you, just like he was trying to misconstrue that story he told about Alex the other day, because Alex did tell me what really happened.
What happened?
When you forgot and then you looked things up on Google and then tried to play it off back to him like you remembered.
Actually, he gave me credit for that today earlier and said he took the comment back because he asked me something and I knew the answer.
Proof. I need proof.
It's in my messages.
What had happened was I was upstairs getting ready, knowing that they were going to come over and knowing that we were going over to Pennington's after they came over. And I yelled down and I said, hello? No answer. Bob, no answer. Zeke, no answer. Hey, is anyone down there? Then you said some dumbass comment like you always do. And I said, oh, Zeke, it's you. Let me put some pants on. I'll be right down. I just got out of the shower.
I still just wonder, what if it had been Bob?
If it had been Bob, it would be, hold on, I just got out of the shower. Let me put some pants on. I'll be right down. You want this? I mean, I know you want it to be funny, and I'm happy to play along with the joke, but it wasn't that funny.
I thought it was hilarious.
You think everything is hilarious.
That's a good way to get through life.
I wish I could do it.
Well, while we're on the notes of our topic of housekeeping items, I'll go through a few things that have popped up recently.
Well, wait, before we get into that, sorry. Nashville Cocktail Festival is this week. There are still tickets available. It's NashvilleCocktailFestival.com. Go on. You can get single event tickets or you can get a weekend pass. Go ahead and check it out. We will be there. Come find us. Zeke, you have housekeeping items.
Yeah, so I did get busted on this one pretty good. One of our friends from the Speakeasy, Adam Pritchard, was asking about, we were talking about the saffle and the turkey episode. He simply said, well, by the way, how do you pronounce lily? And I was like, oh, got me there pretty good, bud. Thanks for the busting.
Well, I told you I went directly to the Campari rep and he confirmed it.
Oh, I know. It's just, you read the message and so you're saying it to yourself, like, how do you pronounce, quote unquote, lily? It's like, guess it would make sense if you say lily to say Lillard. Once again, Zeke and enunciation issues.
You don't call it lolly?
Maybe I will from now on. There were some pretty lollies.
Everybody's going to think that you're talking about like a lollipop.
I'll just look real slow and do it. Other random fun tidbit I thought was nice and fitting regarding the last episode and the blind we had from Brunt. He went on to let me know that on the Four Roses Morganelli pick, amongst a whole bunch of locals, there'd been a fair amount of contention over whether it was a really good pour, whether it was spicy or not. So he got a pretty good kick out of the fact that you and I also had the same discussion and similar opposite opinions on, I remember you said it was hot, and I was like, I didn't get any heat out of this at all.
And you're like, where are you getting this from? I'm like, it's hot. It felt like the best way I could describe it, and I was talking to somebody about it today, the best way I could describe it, everybody knows I love Four Roses, but it was like I had a hot piece of pizza and all the cheese burnt my mouth.
Ooh, that's not fun. Especially when the grease gets in there.
I know.
But no, it's funny. That's the first thing he said to me. I was like, man, seriously? Last but not least from that one as well, different conversation with our buddy John Tanica. We were laughing because I sent him a sample of the, was it one in the century pick or the rare bird pick? He had it, right after we did the show, we were messaging, and I laughed. I said, man, John and I both have loved that pick. I said, and we both just completely whoofed on it in a blind. I was like, I think I missed it even harder than John did. I was just completely out of it. And he's like, yeah, this is a great pick. He said, but honestly, I don't know if I could ever pick it up in a blind. So that kind of got, the gears spinning and thinking, because admittedly we both have and still will give it, plenty of high accolades as one of our better picks in the past year.
It was our favorite pick of last year.
It almost makes you kind of wonder sometimes, is it everything that's in the pick? Or is it the things that it's missing that make it stand out compared to everything? It had some of the sweet on the front, but also had some spice in the back, but both were balanced. Had a great viscosity, similar to the Saffel blend. And then also, the back end of the tasting profile does have a little bit of, turkey funk for those of us that have been fortunate enough to have some. Maybe not the old stuff, but it's there for sure.
I think the interesting thing in that blind is that he sent us a couple of picks that were very off-profile. So that Weller pick was a very off-profile Weller pick. The one in a century, that bottle literally is one in a century. There is not another one like it. That's one of the cool things about doing these blinds and why we taste things blind, because it eliminates all bias. We know it's a turkey. Like when we are drinking one in a century. Now, sometimes, I'm about to backtrack for a second, we love tasting things blind. Other times, it's good to know, like when you're drinking one in a century and you know what a Russell's Reserve should taste like, and then you have that one and you go, that's different. You're kind of like, oh. So it's one of those things where sometimes in a crowd, it's just so good. Mm-hmm. in the sense of there's not any highs or lows in it, that it's not going to stand out of a crowd, but it is an amazing pick. It's fun to see it both sides of things, right? Where you can see how it stacks up against other stuff. But because when we're expecting one thing from Bryant, we were expecting turkeys and we're expecting Four Roses. And when those are off-profile picks, you kind of get taken aback. And then once you get to take the blinders off and actually reevaluate everything where it was, you were like, oh, shit. Yeah. I missed it. I've been rambling now for 2 minutes, but you get what I mean.
Oh, yeah. And I definitely agree with sometimes the blind does hinder you because instead of, looking between the yellow lines, you're pretty much in between the white lines, if not even the dishes beyond that sometimes.
Yeah, we were in the shoulder of the highway right there coming back.
Surface roads.
Yeah. But it is fun. I mean, we love doing those blind tastings. When you all send us some stuff, we have more. Zeke's going to want to make sure I say that we are going to get to them. A lot of times when we do those blinds, admittedly, we spend a lot of time on it because we care. So that's like an hour of us just sitting around with each one of those before we even start hitting record, as we are sampling through everything, going back and forth, seeing where we rank them, seeing the tasting notes we get. So we like to spend a good 10 to 15 minutes on each whiskey.
Easily.
And if Zeke's nosing, it's 30 minutes.
I've gotten better about that. I've tamed it down a lot.
I know. We still haven't done the nose off with Dan Blair.
One day.
It is going to be a bearded dram, mustached man nose off.
Whole lots of facial hair involved there. Good filters.
Once Barrels and Brews opens up, maybe we'll do it then. We'll do it at Barrels and Brews. We'll get a little popcorn machine. Everybody will be eating popcorn, watching you two nose off. Friday night fights.
It's getting warm weather. Maybe we can get those Dunkin' things, the Dunkin' booth thing. You throw the balls and if you hit the spot, a person drops in the water.
If you get it wrong on the nose, you drop in the water.
Boom!
I think I'm just waiting for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching at home. Let's get ready to sniff it. I knew I was going to make you crack up on that one.
Look out, John. Your DMs are going to be blowing up for that. You're going to get all kinds of requests.
I did get a message. About the Red Rocket, and they said my dog is in the car with me, and I can't let him listen to this episode. This is a very special episode for you and I because I have decided to blind you. You do not know what we are drinking right now. I know what we're drinking right now. This is one that we have been meaning to get to. For the people listening, they will already know what we are drinking because it is in the title of the episode. But Zeke right now does not know what we're drinking. So to catch you up, I poured us 2 glasses. We've gone through. We've given tasting notes. I know what we have. Zeke does not know what we have. We are going to go through tasting notes, and then we will do the big reveal, and then I'll tell you more about this whiskey. So, Zeke, tell me what you got.
Nose-wise, first it seemed very minerally, just that kind of flavor you'd get from, I won't say vitamins because it wasn't like a kid's chewable vitamin or a flavored one, much more just earthy, rocky minerals. I don't know if you've ever been over like a whale or something like that.
So it wasn't 10 million strong and growing?
No. Beyond that, really seemed to hit hard on the milled corn. If you've ever done that, where you take just literally the corn, grain and work it with a piece of wood in the little wood bowl, much like a mortar and pestle kind of style thing. Really seemed like a sawmill to me, and literally just like fresh cut boards, still kind of the dust flying around in the air. And that was pretty much where I went with the nose from, a few sniffs and front to back kind of thing. Palate-wise, first it had a light burn, then a faint young corn profile popped up a little bit. And then it just, kind of moved into an astringency mode. As I had a few more sips and, became a little more acclimated with it, felt like there was a little bit of a forced Heath Bar flash profile in there, but it literally was a flash. And then the alcohol just overtook it. At some point, I did have it with water and not the sense of adding water to the glass. Inversely, took a sip of water, didn't quite clean everything out. and then took a sip of this. So I'm not sure how much it was diluted, but it definitely made things much more palatable. It seemed to be sweeter. The vanilla showed through some, and it just felt like the sugars in there weren't quite caramelized or cooked enough. You could tell everything was there, and I guess it'd almost be, say you're baking a pastry or some candies or something, and it's supposed to cook for 45 minutes in the oven. This only probably been in there about 15.
Would have given it 30.
Somewhere, though. I mean, you could tell the process had been started, but it just hadn't fully, catalyzed through.
So before I go through, I won't tell you what it is yet, but I will tell you it was finished in a brandy cask. The nose, for me, I thought it was very sweet. There was some corn and citrus behind that sweetness. I wonder if it was the age or the brandy cask that was bringing in the corn and the citrus for me. Definitely got like a vanilla extract, not vanilla, but like that pure vanilla extract. Pear, sweet and fruity, slight bit of raisins in there on the nose too. I know the guys over at Breaking Bourbon got that too, but I definitely got some raisin on it. I taste the brandy first and foremost with a citrus, vanilla, oak, dark fruit. The spice builds nicely, and it's certainly on point. It's not too spicy. It's not enough spicy. That's incorrect English, but slight bit of chocolate I got in there as well, like you. Hints of candy. The finish is dark, oaky, fruity finish. It lingers a decent amount. There are just, when I say citrus in here and that corn, it's that youth. So overall, I think it has the makings for a very good whiskey. I wonder how long it was aged, because I will tell you right now, this is non-age stated. So I wonder how long it was aged in which cask as well, because it was obviously aged originally and then put into brandy casks. So you wonder what's the proportion there, how long for each of them.
Yeah, definitely, I would say is on the younger side of the aged coin, I would guess. To that tone, I do think it's interesting, even though I don't know what this product is yet. It seems somewhat of a market trend these days to take young juice and finish it in brandy, sherry, any of these other wine products. And I feel like that's just an impromptu way of showing some age or hiding the nuances that are there from it being a young whiskey.
So I will tell you right now, here's the marketing side of it. This is Droptine Spirits, and Len and Dave Eder, founders of Droptine Spirits, are passionate outdoorsmen who have owned one of the largest bow hunting retailers for the past 20 years. And the only thing they are more passionate about than the outdoors is bourbon. They spent the past 4 years merging those two passions, and the result is Droptine Spirits. So a Droptine deer is a rarely seen whitetail buck with one or more tines pointing down instead of up. So it's one of these things, it's an ode to hunting. It's also double-barreled like a shotgun. So this is Droptine.
Part of the rack?
So it's the antlers.
Part of the horns, yeah.
Yeah. So some are pointing down.
I've never heard it called a tine.
If you remember, we were over at your B&B when we first got this. So you knew about this, and I actually Googled how to say tine.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember that.
Correctly.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
I mean, I knew it from hunting.
That's way too proper for the folks in Chattooga County.
I knew it was hunting. I just forgot how to say it. I mean, I always call it like, hey, look, the antler's pointing down.
Yeah, antler of the horn.
Yeah. Either way, this is Droptine 12-point bourbon double-barreled. It is finished in brandy casks. It's 74% corn, 21% rye, and 5% malted barley. It is distilled and aged. It is not disclosed where it is distilled and aged, but I'm going to ask you to put your thinking hat on, because it says, we first distill and age our bourbon in new charred oak barrels in America's heartland. Sounds like Indiana to me.
Oh, yeah. As soon as you said the mash bill, I'm like, yep, that sounds like one of the more common ones that is getting run in Indiana pretty regular.
We then send the barrels to California to be finished in the salt air of the Pacific in the finest brandy casks.
Well, they got the salt out of there, maybe.
And then it is Russian River Valley near Sonoma, California. So this actually gets sent out to wine country. It's aged in the Brandy Casks and the new casks. It's $55, 92 proof, 46% ABV. I don't think it drinks.
What's the proof again?
It is 92 proof.
Wow. Or you didn't get it, but I got a fair amount of heat off this.
I got the spice.
The yeast itself. I mean, I get like astringency heat. It's not a rye.
Oh no, I got more of the spice. I mean, if anything, I got that 21% rye that built up nicely after that first sip. But again, this kind of goes back to the conversation we had about those Four Roses, where you zigged and I zagged.
Could have simply been that, bone fracture in your foot, and you're like a one-legged duck now.
If it really is broken, you might take me out back behind the shed and put me out of my misery.
I'm not digging that hole. God. We need a backhoe.
I think it's interesting just because I haven't had too many brandy finishes. I had the Copper and Kings and some other brandies, but it's a unique finish, and brandy is sweet. Brandy is married to whiskey in a lot of ways, so it is kind of natural, but I would like to see how this tastes after it sleeps a little bit more.
Yeah, and the only thing I can really think of from, same as you, I hadn't had a ton of stuff, but definitely see more and more products emerging that, by all accounts, seem to be younger juice, and folks literally just trying to finish it in something to give it more appeal. If nothing else, maybe just look good on the shelf and add something to the label. I don't know. The only things I've really found that from time to time seem to do well, and it was really only with certain whiskeys and mashes, some of the red wines really do kind of dull out the nuances and give it just a subtlety, I guess more of a full-bodied warmth versus, astringency and that kind of corn popping off and being hot. But it's definitely hit or miss.
For me, on this one, though, I liked a lot of the aspects of it. And this isn't a cop-out. This isn't me trying to make things better. I like the way that the spice built. I like that it wasn't overly hot. The spice was a nice compliment to me for the 92. It was not a high-proof whiskey, but it still had some spice and some heat to it. I liked many of the aspects of it from the way that it went from start to finish. If you take the citrus out, I would like it a lot more and be more inclined to buy a bottle. Right now, I'm going to say bar just because I think everybody should try it before you go one way or another. But I'm probably not going to have a bottle of this on the shelf if the good folks at Droptine didn't send us one. So thank you again, Dave, for sending this over to us. I appreciate that.
I wonder what it was like before the brandy finish went into it, though. Because when I get flashes of young juice, the flashes I get are good, and then it just turns and does something. And I don't know, could be totally wrong, but at least my first thought is, well, if the profile changes that much of a U-turn almost, then I think it's the finish that kind of threw it off. And I wonder how the juice was on its own. And there are plenty of people putting out young MGP that's plenty palatable.
Yeah, true.
And we've seen 2 and 4 year stuff that wasn't rough on the palate by any means.
So you're almost going the other way, saying that they should take the brandy out of it.
I would, but honestly, there's not much that I've ever had finished that I really was a big fan of. But again, I don't have the knowledge to know of all these different products out there that you can buy barrels of what's going to be the best. My first thought, even though I'm not a big rum fan, was I'm trying to take young bourbon or whiskey and finish it in something. I would think a rum cask would be good because that's going to add the sugars that aren't quite there and developed yet and add a sweetness to it.
Is there a rum finished bourbon?
I mean, you can buy a rum cask, is all I know.
Maybe it's an experiment we have to do. Let's buy a rum cask and throw a shit ton of bourbon in there.
You buy the juice, I'll help drink it. And the barrel.
Well, no, I mean, maybe it's another thing like our Four Roses experiment. It's like, hey, why don't we get a bunch of other stuff and go ahead and put it in a rum cask and see.
It's like something that's overly sweet versus overly drying would be more complimentary.
Brandy is something that is going to make your mouth drier than, say, a rum.
Thoughts of Zeke Baker on a daily basis.
Yeah. So what's your final verdict on this one?
I guess bar to pass. I feel like it's young juice that's on its way. I just almost feel like the finish hindered more than it extenuated the profile. Or at least it's not places that my palate get into. There's something right in the middle of my tongue. I mean, you've seen me sipping it. And it just kind of puckers me up real bad. I don't know. It just hits a chord. So
I thought that was your sciatica.
that's in my leg.
Well, I'm just saying, I thought that made you pucker your mouth. Anyways, thank you again to Dave from Droptine Spirits for sending this our way. We're appreciative, and thank you for allowing us to give an open, honest review. Please go ahead and give an open and honest review to us on your favorite podcast app. We appreciate that. Find us on Facebook at Dad's Drinking Bourbon, Twitter at Bourbon Dads, Instagram at Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Zeke, where else can the folks find us?
Well, I was going to say, when you're at the tiki cocktail thing coming up here in a few days at the Nashville Cocktail Fest, maybe you should ask them about mixing in younger whiskeys in a rum type product and what would come out of it.
Maybe you should come with me and ask too.
I don't own one of those shirts though.
I don't know what you own one of them. We have pictures on the thing. Don't try to act like I don't own. So for the record, I don't own one of those shirts. I own fishing shirts and button-down cowboy shirts. And Zeke is the one who owns Hawaiian shirts.
I have one from a luau from my second year of pharmacy school, which would have been 2004.
Wow. Old man, that thing still fits and you still wear it.
Well, you only use one button in the middle.
Cheers.
Ciao.